right, we are going to break into our Project 3 bag and take out all of the contents and sort them. In our directions, you will see listed all the measurements, but I'm going to break them up right now according to left and right page as they're written. So here are my left and right pages, the bases. Column, and there are several columns that we're going to be putting in our spreads. So if I get out the March spread, you can see that there are a couple different pieces in this left column, and then the second, third, and fourth column. So we're just gonna organize them the way they go. So we want the Darling Duckling Roses pattern. And so that's this, and we need a 3x3. Oops, that's not 3x3. Let's see, here we go. 3x3, we're gonna need them on both sides, but we'll arrange a little bit later. And then we need the 3x4 Petal Pink cardstock. And so Petal Pink 3x4 will be right here. And then we need a 3x1.5 light crumb cake. 3x1.5 light crumb cake. And so that's the dark, this is the light. So that's gonna be in our left-hand column. In the second column, we need a 3x3.5 pumpkin pie. Let's see here. This is gonna be 3x3.5. And then we need a 3x4.25 garden green with hexagons. So 3x4.25, that's this one right here. In the next column, we'll need the 3x5 Darling Duckling Roses. That's this one. And then we will need the 3x3 light crumb cake. All right, so there we have that. And then in the last column, we're gonna need the 2.25. So most of them are 3 inches wide, except for this last column, it's only 2.5 inches wide for everything. So we need 2.5x3 garden green hexagon. So 2.5, you can see this is 1/2 inch smaller or narrower. And then we need the 2.5x3 Petal Pink. So that will be this one. And that's the light Petal Pink. Or we'll need the dark Petal Pink, sorry. And then we need the 2.5x1.5 pumpkin pie. And that's going to be the dark side. All right, so that's our left side. That's the general makeup of that. On the right-hand side, right, some of these larger pieces are the photo mats. So I'm gonna just set some of these aside for right now. This little strip right here, by the way, goes at the top of each page. So that, let me sort it that way here. On this next page, let's get these off so I can spread this out accordingly. So on my right-hand page, in the first column, the left-hand column, I'm going to need, let me just call this up here a little bit. All right, I'm going to need the 3x4.5 crumb cake. So that's 3x4.5 crumb cake. I need the light and the 3x3 Darling Duckling Rose. So that's over here. And then in the second column, I need the 3x3 pumpkin pie cardstock. And I need the 3x4 Petal Pink cardstock. And I need the dark side if it doesn't say. And column number 3, I need the 3x2 garden green hexagon. Let's see, there's 3x2, right? And I need the 3x4.5 darling duckling. And then I need the 3x1 3/4 light crumb cake. And then in the last column, I need the 2.5x4.5 petal pink. 2.5x4.5 petal pink. And the 2.5x3 1/4 garden green hexagon. Ooh, wait a second, where are you? Am I missing a piece? Oh, there it is. Garden green hexagon DSP. So this is not the right one. Oh, this looks like the 3x2, sorry. And this looks like the 2.5x3 1/2. There we go. And so now we have those pieces done. I can see that I'm also going to need some of my my photo placements are going to be, let's see, I have some pecan pies. These are all my other little pieces. So let's just set those aside for right now. We'll set all these pieces aside. These are our photo mats and journaling pieces. So let's now assemble our, or prepare our pages. To prepare our pages, the first thing we're going to do is bring in our blending, and this happens really only along the top of the pages. So if I do a general layout, just kind of get these organized the way they should be, I can see that I'm going to add a little bit of pumpkin pie right up in here, kind of where this corner meets. And then I'm going to go up in here where the March word goes. Let's open my piece here. I'm going to pick some up with a blending brush. And I'm just going to tap off on this a little bit just to get some of that strongest part off. And I know I need right in here. Okay, and it's okay if it's blotchy. In fact, in their sample, they have kind of a blotchiness to it. And then we're going to go right up in here as well and just add where it's going to be behind the word March. All right. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit more. Again, take off that first little layer there. And over here on this right side, again, I want some right up in here. I'm just going to lightly add some in here. And then bring some up over here in the on the right-hand side, a little bit darker. All right, I think that's pretty good. While we have our pumpkin pie out, we're going to add the paint splatter on both base pages. I have my paint splatter mounted, but let's close this up for just a second. I want to bring in the March title page simply because I want to get an idea of where that word is going. That'll help me place my splatter a little bit more effectively. All right. It's caught on some of the pieces. March has a lot of twists and turns in it. There we go. So if I look on my left-hand page, right here. My march is going to go pretty much like this. It's going to be a little flower over here. So we're gonna stamp some splatter right about here. Maybe a little bit more. And then we're going to put some over here as well. And then on this other page over here, this is roughly where things go. We're going to have a photo right here, and then we're going to put some flowers up here, but we'll also go ahead and put a little bit of splatter. Not much, just a little bit. All right. Let's close our ink. And clean our stamp so that we don't get anything anywhere else. All right. Remember, if you have not been following along so far, it's been my custom to put the stamps back as soon as I take them out. I still don't have my stamp case yet because I haven't ordered it yet, really. And I put them back pretty much as soon as I take them out. Once I've used them, I put them back. Keep them nice and orderly in there so I can find them the next time I need to use one. All right, now we're going to stamp 4 large flowers, 5 large leaves, and 4 small leaves in Tuxedo Black and Garden Green ink on the coordinating White Willow pre-cut pieces. So if I get out my pre-cut pieces, I need 4 large flowers. So that's down here. All right, there's 4 large flowers. I need 7 small flowers. 1, 2, there's 7 of those. And then I need 5 large leaves. So if you're unsure which the large leaves are, they are going to be, if I look at my piece here, they're shaped like this. That's what the stamp looks like. So that's not this sheet. This is over here. You've got large leaves and small leaves. So let's see if I can get those out. I'm gonna try to put this one back without getting any of those pieces lost. And so I need, what did I say I needed? I need 5 large leaves and 4 small. So 5, I guess I can try to take this out a little bit. There's 5 large. And I need 4 small. Or was it 4 large and 5 small? Let's see. Let's go back and look. It is 5 large and 4 small. Okay, got it. All right, the instructions tell me that I need to stamp the flowers in tuxedo black. It actually says stamp the flowers and the leaves in tuxedo black and garden green, but that's what it means. It means respectively. So the flowers are in black and the leaves are in green. Let's just grab our flowers here. So here's our large flower. And then we have a small flower right here. Okay. I'm going to stamp our large one. And if I want to get the orientation correct, I can see that the larger petals go right at the bottom. So I'm just going to orient those all the same right now while I have that chance. All right. I'm going to stand up so I can get a better view. That one doesn't look right. Hold on. That one doesn't look quite right. Maybe it's on the other side. That's definitely not right. Let me get this back again here. This is definitely the flatter side over here. We're gonna call that close enough. I can't get right over to. And it's okay if they're off a bit. Like I sat down, and so that's definitely a lot more off. Probably get the last one better than all. That's good. We'll set that aside. Now we want to bring in our 7 smaller flowers. And there are a couple of flowers here, and they kind of curve this way. So I think these are all upside down. I'm looking at the curve of some of these petals, and they curve to the left. So I want to make sure that these are flipped over so that my angles here are curving to the left. And some curve more than others. Let's try to find those. Ooh, that one's good. That one's good. Let's keep that, and let's arrange these the way they all should go. So I'm going to take a second to line these up just the way they should go. That looks good. Yeah. Okay, I've all got them in good shape now. It looks like they can be turned a couple different ways and still work. Yep. So there's a lot of symmetry involved here, which is helpful. I'm done with my black. And now I need to do the leaves, but first, let's clean our stamps so we can free up some blocks. Then we're going to get the large leaf and the small leaf, but it's the straight leaves, not the ones that look more like fall leaves. It's these ones. And these are going to go in garden green. Put these off to the side. These are much easier to tell how I stamp. And if you make a mistake on one side, there's nice symmetry here, so you could just flip it over and do the other side. So for instance, if I wanted to flip this one over, there we go. There are my large ones. Now let's get out my smaller ones. Oop, got some green on my finger. And our stamping is complete. Well, not totally true. We do have some more stamping to do, and we're going to stamp some numbers on these two pieces and also on some pre-cut circles. So we'll get our numbers here. I'm going to put my photo mats just back in the bag for right now, just so I don't lose them. Get our pre-cut circles back out. So let's see. There are some circles on one side. There's circles over here. These look larger than I need them to be. Let me see if I can find some other circles. All right, I was correct. Those were not the right circles, because in this package right here, we've got some smaller ones. So let's go ahead and take those out. One, two, three. There's 3, 4, 5, 6. That's gonna be better. All right, let's, for some reason I got my 6 out, so we'll just start with a 6. And we're gonna stamp our numbers in pecan pie on the willow white pieces. And I need to stamp it in 2 different places. So on this smaller one, I have 4, 5, and 6, so we'll stamp a 6 here. And then we're going to stamp a 6 here. So this is a unique way of writing captions where we are numbering the photos and then we're just writing a very short little caption on these journaling pieces. Clean our stamp and get out the 5. We'll go right in order. And there we go. Okay, the last step in the preparing is to go ahead and mat our photos. Remember, I'm not gonna have my photos until March, so we will simply place things where they go. So I need a 3x4 here, and I need a 3x4 here, and let's see, I think I need a 4x4 here, probably need a 3x4 there. Yep. So I'm just going to take some dots, put a couple on here, take off those backgrounds, de-stickify them just a hair, and then when I mount them, I'll be able to take them off pretty easily. Now this, I can adhere regularly to that because that's not going to go anywhere. That's going to stay that way. But all these white pieces get put on with dots. This one can go on with sticky strip or Stampin' Seal, whatever adhesive you're using, glue. As long as it's archival, you're good. This one's not being replaced by a photo at some point, so that's why we can just adhere it with the real stuff right now. All right, and so there are pieces. I'm going to put all of these back in the bag until we're ready to use them, because now it's time to get back to our designer series paper that we're going to put on here. Let's put all these in here. We don't want to lose anything just yet. Well, we don't ever want to lose anything. All right, here's what our pages should look like when we're finished. So I'm just gonna go by this. We've already laid them out. So now it's just a matter of putting them down. So this one I know is the right side. Let's start with the left side. We need to adhere this piece down first, this little piece of Garden Green DSP. Use a little bit of glue, just a little bit. All right. And that goes right up at the top. What a great way to use up some thin scraps. This is only going to require a 1/2 inch between the two pages, 1/2 by 12. You almost always have that left over from some project. Now on here, let's go ahead and just use glue. Why not? We're at it. And I wanted to use light side here. And I'm just sort of eyeballing it from the directions. It goes right over to the edge. There's a little bit of a space down here at the bottom. And if I look in my directions, I need of the petal pink, it looks like all the petal pinks don't say light, which means that I need to adhere dark side up. I'm just gonna do that right there, just a small section in there. And then we have this piece. Make sure your roses are gonna be right side up. And just a little bit of a space in there. Okay. This green comes a little bit further down. There we go. This one had said this measurement was light, so I'm going to put the light side up. And that's going to go right about here, I think. 3/4 of an inch up or so. Trying to keep these little spacings between consistent. Again, make sure your roses are up. Or if you are changing this up and using your own products at home, if you have designer series paper, make sure the pattern is in the right orientation. And then this last section over here, looks like I have a little bit more room. So I guess my pieces could have been a little bit more widely spaced, but it's all right. Because this edge is going to be in towards the center anyway, I don't need to fret about it. And about like that. Probably would have been a great idea for me to really get a good gauge of it before I started gluing. But honestly, it's going to be fine. Here we go. There we have the background on that. Let's just bring in our second page so we can get that one done as well. Tiny strip goes right at the top. Here we go. I want to rearrange these pieces again. So I have this DSP square down here, and I'm going to start from this other edge, just so I kind of get the same balance on the inside as I did on the other one. Now going to adhere our photo mats, our prepared photos, which just really have the placeholders, to our cards. So I need here, I need dimensionals on the back. Remember to keep everything from sagging. Probably want to use a little more rather than less. Right. This one goes an inch in from the side. I'm gonna have it go just a tad bit further, only because, remember, I have this piece in here that I hadn't planned for. So, oops, I need to be on page number 1. I'm looking at the directions for first page. So let's go bring in the first page. So we'll have this kind of right about here, I think. There we go. And we can put our numbered pieces on as well. This one goes flush from with this one, and about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch. Looks straight. And then we need our square photo. And our square photo is going to go right here in perfect line with the edge of these 2 designer series pieces, and just a tad bit above this one. You know what? I'm going to remove 3 at a time. Oops, except for these came off, so I guess I won't. I guess I'll put all these down and then I'll remove these. All right, let's put this right about there. That's where my photos are on that page. And then on this page, I have one that comes up here that's about halfway, between the top and bottom of this piece right here. And let's move it over just a little bit. And then I have my 4, 5, 6 piece. That's going to go right there. And I don't need to put that on dimensionals, I don't think. Let's see if I look at... Yes, it just says adhere this. So that means it's regular basic adhesive. It's not dimensionals. I'm just going to put that right there. All right. Put our dimensionals on here. This one's gonna go right about like this. There we go. We just have that little splatter just peeking out there. And then we have another one that's down. We have the, ooh, this is supposed to be the double matted one down here. Hold, please. Hopefully I can get this up without too much trouble. It hasn't sat down for very long. I wasn't really paying attention to which ones I was working with here. All right. this one with the double mat goes down here. So we have something that looks like this. And then this one goes up at the top. Always a good idea not to press down too firmly until you are really sure of everything. Now, if you did maybe press down a little bit harder than you probably should have, and that adhesive is really sticking pretty well, one of the things that you can do is just sort of try to peel it off as you're breathing warm, moist air in there. Sometimes a little heat tool will help a little bit too. It just helps soften that adhesive so you can pick it up. All right, let's go right here. Go a little bit higher maybe. Okay, right there. All right, now our last two pieces. One's gonna go here, and it tells us that we should be 2 1/4 inches from the top and 1 1/4 in from the edge here. So let's put our adhesives on the back. This one as well. That's bothering me. Is it bothering anybody else? There's just no pattern, no nice pattern here, but it's fine. No, it's not. I mean, it's still not going to be right, but it's getting there. All right, so this one's going to go. Let's take this off as well. Okay. It's going to come in 1 1/4 inches. All right. So that's about, well, that's halfway here. And then down 2 1/4 from the top. So it's going to be about here. So I'm just keeping my eye there. And that's pretty good right there. And then right here, right below it. There we go. Let's bring in our left-hand page again. Now we're going to adhere our March title, and that just goes on with the regular glue. Just teeny tiny. If you have a precision glue bottle, especially if glue is not your best pal, precision glue bottle is the way to go. If you're a customer of mine and you don't have one, ask. I might have an extra. All right, and this is gonna go right up here in this section right here. And about like that. Yeah, let's make sure that's straight. Let's see, it looks pretty good. And we adhere that down. See how those splatters are just peeking through? Now we're going to add the prepared flowers and leaves and twine. adhering. Some of them with dimensionals and some of them not. So if I bring in my sample here, or my example page, it looks like one of these flowers is up here by March, and I can see shadow, which means that it is up on a dimensional. So we can do that one. That's going to go right up here. Okay. Then we're going to have another flower over here. I don't see a ton of dimensional there. And then over in this corner, we've got a large leaf and a small leaf. And those look like they are kind of tucked right under here. So those won't be on dimensionals either. I do think that the other little flowers that are shown probably are on dimensionals. And you know what? If they're not, it's fine. It's fine if we put them on dimensionals. All right, so we're going to put one. Now, this one has a border that's not quite as perfect as I'd like it to be. So I'm gonna trim that. Nobody's ever gonna know. There are always ways to fix what you perceive to be a mistake. Now this one, I have to, if I put this on a dimensional, I have to make sure that the dimensional is not covering where my photo goes. So I would put the dimensional off on the edge here. And I think I'm gonna need maybe an edge little piece because I don't want to run the risk of it covering up where I need to stick my photo. So we're just gonna do that like that. And the dimensional is just out in the back there, hanging out. All right, and then I need, my numbers are gonna get put on after my photos because the numbers go on the photos. So I'm gonna take my number pieces and I'm just gonna set them aside so I don't lose them. They'll go in the sheet protector with this. And now over here on this square, you can see you have a couple of different of the large flowers. And you have a smaller flower. And you have two large leaves and a small leaf. So that's gonna go in here. And you have some white twine. Now there was twine in our bag. Here's it's in with the die cuts, the colored die cuts. Now let's see if we can find the end of this. It's always the trick. But usually you can see an end that's a little bit more frayed than others, or a little spot that looks a little bit funny. That's usually where I'm looking. Well, it looks like they just kind of balled this up a little bit. And kind of put that under here. It's gonna go under there. So let's start adhering some things. Again, we don't want to place any adhesive on this white portion because that's where our photo is going to go. And I think we're gonna do adhesive on both flowers. And I'm just putting it off to the side here because I see one of them goes right about here. And so the dimensionals, oops, let me move it over. The dimensionals right here are still off this photo. They're not on it at all. And then this one, I'm trimming this one because this one was not my finest work, that's for sure. Oh, I'd stamped it better on the other side. Ooh, I forgot to check that. Oh well. This is gonna work. Once you trim it down, it looks a lot more like it's supposed to. Here we go. That's better. And we're gonna cover up some of it anyway. And so this one is going to overlap that first one. Which means that we want some double dimensionals on this because it's got to, we want to keep it balanced so it doesn't rock. So there will be one dimensional up top and then where it overlaps this flower right here, and then we're going to do a double dimensional down here. So one, and what I mean by a double dimensional is I'm going to stack those two dimensionals. All right. So the one is up here, the two is down there. That looks pretty good right there. Then let's go ahead and adhere our leaves. And those are just going to get glued on the page. There's that one. And this one. And I got a large one out, but I really need a small one. Small one up top here. Okay, this is going to go on here, but first what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I can adhere my little twine under here. I'm just going to take a little dimensional and I'm going to stick this twine underneath. I'm going to make it a little bit messy first. There we go. And then we're just going to squeeze that top. I've got some glue on my hand, so that's not helping my case any. All right, so I've got something that looks like that on there. It's stuck to my page. And then I'm going to put this flower out here as well. And that's going to get double dimensionals too. So that's going to go right about here. There we go. So you don't have to color flowers to make them look good. So there's that left side. And now on the right side, we're almost done. Actually, we could do one more thing over here. We could take the number 2 and put that on top of that flower. Signifying that this is photo number 2. Okay. Now up here, we need a large flower. Again, I'm going to do just a little bit of trimming to make it look better. And the number 3 is going to go on that. So we might as well find our number 3 and put that on. Here's the number 3.
Okay, and we need 2 small flowers and a large leaf and a small leaf. And we need some more twine. So curl that up a little bit. Separate those strands. There we go. All right. So this is going to go up by the corner right here. Again, I'm going to put my large flower up on some dimensionals. It's going to overlap this photo a little bit. So that means I want my dimensionals on this part over here. And I'm going to put a few on there, because it has to adhere the twine as well. So let's go ahead and we'll bring our twine up here. Ooh, don't want to stick that down. Make sure your 3 is kind of going in the right direction. I can trim these. I need to trim these ends. I don't need them that long. We're going to do something that looks like this. That looks pretty good. And then we can tack these guys down just on with regular adhesive in the back. And just tucks under a little bit. Green leaf. There we go. And one more. This one right here, we'll put this up on dimensionals. And it's just going to overlap just a little bit. But I'm just going to kind of slide and see where my dimensional goes. It goes right there. There we go. And then 5 is going to go on this photo. 6 is going to go on this photo. 4 is going to go on this photo. Now, this is an interesting way that they've done the journaling, because we just have a small piece here. The 3, there's not 3 photos on this left-hand side. So that's why the 3s, the numbers are on the photos, because then that'll force you to find the matching comment or whatever you're writing, journaling piece. All right, so now we're going to bring in our last large flower. This one wasn't done too poorly, but it was off just a little bit, just enough so I see too much white here. All right, now it's great. We're going to put this one's going to go down here with a large leaf here. And I should have another large leaf. I do. And this is going to go here. And this is going to overlap this one right here. So no adhesive there. We can tuck this under afterwards. But I want to see, this left half over here. That's where we can put our dimensionals. So they're over here like that. That's probably good. See, I can take this up, I can remove this, I can snick something right underneath it. This one, take my dimensional, and we're going to overlap it, and I'm just sliding it in, and I feel the stop of that dimensional, And that's where I'm going to stop. Right there. And now I'll just adhere these regularly. So pretty, so simple. And although we use die cuts, you saw that I trimmed around a lot, so you can certainly do your own with your own stuff. The only thing that's left to add are our dots. All right, I have my dots now. Let's bring back in our first page. See if we can get in our dots. Oh, here we go. I'm just going to add them as they had added them. All right, so we're going to put a large one. I'm going to put a large one right around here. Oops. Right around there, I think, yeah. And we'll put a smaller one right up there. And then we'll put another small one on up by the H. There we go. And then on this one, we need a couple of them right here. Come on. Let's see, right here. I thought I picked it up, guess not. And right here, and then kind of mirror that down here. There we go. And there we have it. Let me put this away. We have our March 2-page spread. All right, if we bring in our February, this is our right-hand side of our February spread. So for our left-hand side, just of our March spread, we'll put that on the back. And I'm going to need a couple of numbers here. I need my number 1. So I'm just going to put that right down in here so it doesn't get lost. And then I need another page protector. And that's going to be for my right-hand page of March. And I'm going to put these 3 pieces. And notice I'm putting them all down at the bottom just because if I were to just plop them in there, they might get caught behind here and then I'd lose them. So this way I have them where I can find them.